Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler 1889–1945 once stated, "I want war. To me, all means will be right." This quote reflects his destructive ambition and total disregard for human life. Hitler's name has become synonymous with evil, largely due to his orchestration of the Holocaust and his role in starting World War II, which resulted in over 70 million deaths. Despite his monstrous acts, Hitler managed to capture the hearts and minds of millions of Germans with his fiery rhetoric, exploiting their fears and prejudices. Born in Braunau am Inn, Austria, on April 20, 1889, Hitler was the fourth of 6 children, though only 2 of his siblings survived childhood. His father, Alois Hitler, was a strict customs official, while his mother, Clara, was gentle and doting. Hitler had a strained relationship with his father, who disapproved of his artistic ambitions. When his father died in 1903, 14-year-old Adolf became increasingly withdrawn and struggled to find direction in life. In 1907, Hitler moved to Vienna with dreams of becoming a professional artist. However, his application to the prestigious Academy of Fine Arts was rejected twice, leading to deep feelings of failure. During his years in Vienna, he lived a life of poverty, selling postcards of his artwork to make ends meet. It was here that he developed his political beliefs, influenced by the widespread anti-Semitic and nationalist sentiments that were prevalent at the time. However, he remained largely apolitical during these early years. In 1913, seeking a fresh start, Hitler moved to Munich, Germany. When World War I broke out in 1914, he enlisted in the German army. Serving as a messenger, Hitler was wounded twice and awarded the Iron Cross for bravery. He found a sense of purpose and camaraderie in the military that he had lacked in civilian life. However, Germany's eventual defeat in 1918 devastated him. Like many Germans, Hitler felt betrayed by the political leadership for agreeing to the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, which forced Germany to accept blame for the war, disarm, and pay crippling reparations. This sense of betrayal fueled his political rise. After the war, Hitler became involved in nationalist and far-right political movements. In 1919, he joined a small extremist group known as the German Workers' Party. Hitler's powerful oratory skills quickly set him apart, and by 1921, he became the party's leader, renaming it the National Socialist German Workers' Party (Nazi Party). The party's ideology combined intense nationalism, racism, and anti-communism, promising to restore Germany to its former glory. In 1923, Hitler made his first attempt to seize power through the Munich beer hall putsch, an attempted coup against the Weimar government. The coup failed, and Hitler was arrested and sentenced to 5 years in prison, though he served only 9 months. During his imprisonment, he wrote Mein Kampf, My Struggle, a book that outlined his political ideology and future plans for Germany. In Mein Kampf, Hitler expressed his deep hatred for Jews, blaming them for Germany's problems, and his belief in the superiority of the Aryan race. Upon his release, Hitler set about building the Nazi Party into a national movement. His charismatic speeches drew large crowds, and his promises to restore Germany's economy and rebuild its military gained traction, especially as the Great Depression devastated the global economy. By 1933, with unemployment at record levels and political instability growing, Hitler's Nazi Party won enough seats in parliament to pressure President Paul von Hindenburg to appoint him Chancellor of Germany. Once in power, Hitler wasted no time dismantling Germany's democratic institutions. In 1934, after Hindenburg's death, Hitler declared himself Führer, merging the positions of Chancellor and President, and granting himself absolute power. He established a totalitarian regime, using propaganda, censorship, and brutal repression to eliminate political opponents. His secret police, the Gestapo, and paramilitary organizations like the SS enforced his rule through terror and violence. One of Hitler's first major policies was the rearmament of Germany. Despite the restrictions placed on Germany by the Treaty of Versailles, Hitler began rebuilding the military in secret. This was part of his broader goal of expanding German territory and creating a Greater Germany that would dominate Europe. Alongside rearmament, Hitler also launched massive infrastructure projects, including the construction of the Autobahn, which helped reduce unemployment and boost the economy. However, Hitler's vision for Germany went beyond economic and military strength. He sought to create a racially pure state, free of Jews, Romani people, homosexuals, and others he considered undesirable. In 1935, the Nuremberg laws stripped Jews of their citizenship and prohibited marriage between Jews and non-Jews. Hitler's anti-Semitic policies escalated with Kristallnacht in 1938, when Jewish businesses, synagogues, and homes were attacked, leaving hundreds dead and thousands imprisoned. In foreign policy, Hitler aimed to undo the Treaty of Versailles and expand Germany's borders. In 1938, he annexed Austria in what was known as the Anschluss. Later that year, he demanded the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia with a large ethnic German population. Western powers, eager to avoid another war, pursued a policy of appeasement, allowing Hitler to take the Sudetenland in exchange for a promise of no further expansion. However, Hitler broke this promise when he invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia in 1939. The invasion of Poland in September 1939 marked the start of World War II, as Britain and France declared war on Germany. Initially, Hitler's military, using the Blitzkrieg strategy, achieved rapid and overwhelming victories, conquering much of Europe, including France, Denmark, and Norway. Hitler formed an alliance with Italy and Japan, known as the Axis powers, to further his ambitions of global domination. However, in 1941, Hitler made a critical error by invading the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa. The harsh Russian winter and fierce Soviet resistance led to massive German losses. Around the same time, the United States entered the war after Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor, further tilting the balance of power against Germany. Despite these setbacks, Hitler continued to push for total victory. He became increasingly isolated and paranoid, believing that secret weapons or last-minute victories could still save his regime. Meanwhile, he intensified his efforts to exterminate Europe's Jewish population. During the infamous Wannsee Conference in 1942, Nazi leaders formalized the final solution, the plan to systematically murder all Jews in Nazi-occupied Europe. Over 6 million Jews were killed in concentration and extermination camps, along with millions of others, including Romani people, disabled individuals, political dissidents, and prisoners of war. By 1944, the Allies were closing in on Germany. After the D-Day invasion, Allied forces liberated France and advanced toward Germany from the west, while the Soviet army pushed in from the east. Hitler, refusing to admit defeat, retreated to his bunker in Berlin. As Soviet forces entered the city in April 1945, Hitler married his longtime companion Eva Braun and, shortly after, they both committed suicide. Hitler's death marked the end of the Third Reich, but the devastation he left behind would haunt Europe for decades to come. The war officially ended on May 8, 1945, with Germany's surrender. The atrocities committed by the Nazi regime were revealed to the world in the aftermath, including the horrors of the concentration camps. The Nuremberg trials were held to bring Nazi war criminals to justice, and many of Hitler's closest associates were executed or imprisoned for their roles in the genocide and other crimes against humanity. Hitler's legacy is one of unparalleled destruction and cruelty. His rise from failed artist to dictator shows the dangerous power of propaganda, hatred, and unchecked ambition. The world still grapples with the lessons of Hitler's reign, ensuring that the horrors of the Holocaust and World War II are never forgotten.